You are the man who begs, and that identity is your cage. Power demands you vanish until the moment of control. Cling to visibility, and sovereignty slips through your fingers.
You were never forced to beg. You chose it. Every time you explained yourself, justified your existence, asked for approval or chased validation, you were not being polite. You were handing over the keys to your own cage and thanking the jailer. Most men spend their entire lives convinced that openness builds trust, that effort demonstrates value, that vulnerability is strength. They are wrong. They are livestock politely walking into the slaughter chute while calling it authenticity. The moment you beg, whether for attention, sex, loyalty, respect, a second chance, or even basic consideration, you signal one thing with surgical clarity: I am lower in the hierarchy than you. Correct that perception at your own pace, or watch it harden into permanent reality. Power does not negotiate with neediness, it erases it. The instant need crosses your lips, the frame flips. You become the petitioner, they become the gatekeeper. And gatekeepers do not elevate petitioners, they exploit them, ignore them, or discard them once utility is exhausted. This is not a theory, it is observed law. Watch any room the next time a man over-explains, apologizes unnecessarily, qualifies his desires, or pleads for understanding. The atmosphere changes, not dramatically, subtly, permanently. His words keep coming, but no one is listening anymore. They are already calculating how little they now have to invest in return. Begging is not weakness in the poetic sense. It is a voluntary downgrade of status that cannot be unseen once performed. The nervous laugh after asking for something, the "I know this is a lot, but" preface, the long paragraph when a single cold sentence would have sufficed. Each is a brick in the wall that separates sovereigns from subjects. You do not rise by begging harder, you fall faster. The first and most lethal illusion is believing that if you just explain yourself clearly enough, people will finally get it and give you what you deserve. They will not. Clarity without dominance is confession. Explanation without power is self-incrimination. The second illusion is that women, friends, bosses, or allies secretly want you to lower yourself so they can feel safe enough to elevate you. They do not. They want you to already be elevated so they can attach to your orbit without effort. Neediness is repellent because it demands emotional labor from someone who has already decided you are not worth it. Stop romanticizing your own desperation. It has no nobility. It has no hidden virtue. It is simply bad strategy. Realize this: every time you beg, you are training the other party to see you as extractable, not dangerous, not unpredictable, extractable, a resource that pleads to be used. Cut that circuit now. From this moment forward, treat every impulse to justify, clarify, over-explain, or plead as treason against your own sovereignty. When the urge rises, feel it like a blade against your throat, because that is exactly what it is. Silence is not passive, it is weaponized absence. Mystery is not coy, it is strategic starvation of information. Restraint is not weakness, it is enforced scarcity. You do not owe anyone access to your inner world. You do not owe anyone your reasoning. You do not owe anyone your emotions on demand. The man who understands this stops asking. He starts deciding who is even permitted to stand in his gravity. Begging ends the instant you decide your attention, your time, your approval, and your desire are more valuable when withheld than when given freely. Most will never make that decision. They will remain polite prisoners forever. You no longer have that luxury.
The human animal
does not award power to the eager. It awards it to the scarce. This is not philosophy, it is wiring. When you flood someone with your presence, words, availability, explanations, or affection, you collapse the tension that creates desire, respect, and obedience. Tension is gravitational pull. Remove tension by oversupplying yourself, and gravity vanishes. You become weightless. Weightless things are not feared. They are used, then forgotten. The mechanism is brutally simple. Perceived value equals perceived rarity times perceived threat level. Increase rarity, amplify threat. Decrease rarity, dilute threat to nothing. Most men operate under the delusion that more input equals more influence. They text first, they double text, they explain their silence, they volunteer their schedule, they confess feelings early, they chase closure. Every action screams, "I am abundant, I am safe, I am yours to command." The recipient's nervous system registers it correctly. Low status, low danger, low priority. Contrast this with the man who disappears without apology, who answers slowly or not at all, who gives fragments instead of novels, who lets silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable for them, not him. His absence creates a vacuum. Human psychology hates a vacuum. The mind rushes to fill it with fantasy, fear, projection, need. Suddenly, he is not just another voice in the noise, he is the signal that cuts through. This is not manipulation in the cheap sense, it is physics. Supply and demand govern attraction, loyalty, fear, and submission far more than morality or connection ever will. Test it in the wild. Observe any high-value man, criminal, CEO, warlord, playboy, monk. The pattern is identical. They do not chase, they do not over-explain, they do not beg for understanding. They withhold, and the world bends to decode them. Women do not fall for the man who proves he is good. They fall for the man whose goodness or evil remains uncertain. Bosses do not promote the employee who over-communicates availability. They promote the one whose time feels expensive. Friends do not respect the one who is always there. They respect the one whose presence is unpredictable. The trigger fires in the lizard brain. If he is this hard to access, he must be high value. If he is this indifferent to my approval, he must be dangerous. If he can walk away without flinching, he must be sovereign. Desperation short-circuits all three. It broadcasts the opposite signal. I am low value. I am harmless. I am owned. Once that signal lands, no amount of later alpha behavior can fully erase it. Trust is not rebuilt by intensity. It is destroyed by overexposure. The scar remains. He was needy once, therefore he always can be. You cannot logic your way out of this mechanism. You cannot negotiate with it. You can only obey it or be crushed by it. From today, treat every piece of yourself you give away as currency you will never get back at full value. Your stories, your emotions, your plans, your availability, your reassurance. Each disclosure is inflation. Each silence is deflation in your favor. Learn to savor the discomfort of not replying, of not clarifying, of not justifying. That discomfort is the sensation of power re-entering your body. The moment you feel the urge to fill silence with words, recognize it as a withdrawal from a drug called approval. Push through it. The longer you hold, the stronger the pull you exert on the other side. Most men collapse at hour 3, some at day 3. The rare collapse never. Those are the ones empires orbit. You do not need to become cruel. You need to become expensive. Expensive in attention, expensive in access, expensive in emotion. When you master withheld essence, people stop asking what you want They start asking what they must become to earn a fragment of you. That is the mechanism working. That is sovereignty in motion. Do not romanticize connection. Connection without dominance is leash. Dominance without mystery is tyranny that invites rebellion. Mystery without restraint is chaos that invites contempt. Withheld essence is the perfect alloy. Mystery that signals strength, restraint that signals control, absence that signals abundance. Obey it or remain extractable forever.
Two men walk the same earth. One begs without ever saying the word. The other never begs, even when the world starves him of what he wants. They wear the same skin, speak the same language, chase the same goals, yet one ends ruled, the other rules. The difference is not talent, looks, money, or luck. It is archetype. The beggar archetype operates from exposure. He believes visibility is safety. He shows up early, stays late, overshares to prove he has nothing to hide. His posture says, see me, know me, like me, keep me. Every interaction is a plea disguised as conversation. He laughs too hard at jokes that are not funny. He qualifies his opinions before stating them. He apologizes for having boundaries. He sends the just checking in message after 3 days of silence. He explains why he did not reply sooner. He asks, are we okay when tension appears? These are not accidents. They are programmed surrender rituals. The beggar broadcasts, I can be safely managed. I will not disappear. I will not punish. I will absorb rejection and come back smiling. The nervous system of every person around him logs it instantly. Predators smell it from kilometers away. Allies lose respect. Women feel no gravitational pull. He becomes furniture, useful until something better arrives. Now observe the shallow sovereign. He appears only when it serves him. His default state is absence. When he speaks, it is sparse, deliberate, final. He does not justify delays. He does not chase closure. He does not volunteer context unless extracting something in return. His silence is not sulking, it is architecture. His indifference is not cruelty, it is calibration. People project onto the void he creates danger, depth, superiority, secrets. They fill the blank space with their own fear and desire. Machiavelli did not write manuals for beggars. He wrote for princes who understood that being loved is optional, being feared is negotiable, but being ignored is fatal, unless you are the one choosing the ignore. Caesar did not beg the Senate for loyalty. He let the vacuum of his ambition pull them in or crush them. Modern predators follow the same script without reading it. The man who ghosts without explanation. The boss who gives feedback once and never repeats it. The lover who leaves mid-sentence and returns weeks later unchanged. They do not perform dominance, they embody scarcity. Look at your own life with forensic honesty. When was the last time someone chased you for an answer? When did someone apologize to you unprompted? When did a woman double text, re-engage after you pulled back, or soften her frame because your silence made her question her value? If never or rarely, then you are still operating inside the beggar frame. The symptoms are unmistakable. You feel anxious when you do not reply within hours. You rehearse conversations in your head to avoid losing. You feel compelled to explain your mood, your decisions, your boundaries. Rejection hits like personal failure instead of data. These are not character flaws. They are identity markers of the beggar archetype currently wearing your skin.
The shadow sovereign does not feel these compulsions because his identity is anchored elsewhere, in internal sovereignty, not external approval. He can lose a deal, a woman, a friend, and the frame never cracks. Why? Because his power does not depend on any single outcome. It depends on the refusal to be defined by outcomes at all. Confront this now. Which man currently controls your nervous system? The one who needs to be seen, understood, chosen, or the one who can vanish and let the world scramble to reorient around him? There is no gentle transition between archetypes. The shift is violent. It requires killing the part of you that believes being nice, consistent, reliable, or emotionally available will ever earn power. Those traits earn comfort from the ruled, never dominance. Most men die inside the beggar frame. They age, accumulate resentments, tell themselves stories about how the world is unfair, never realizing the cage was unlocked the entire time. They just kept choosing to stay inside. You are reading this because some fragment of you already senses the lie. That fragment is the embryonic shadow sovereign. Feed it. Starve the beggar until it withers. Recognition is step 1. Revulsion is step 2. Every time you catch yourself about to beg, whether through words, availability, explanation, or emotional dumping, feel physical disgust. Train the body to recoil from the old archetype the way it recoils from spoiled meat. Only then does the new one take root.
Every empire, every court, every boardroom, every bedroom that has ever existed carries the same unmarked graves, the men who begged when they should have vanished. Rome did not fall because barbarians were stronger. It fell because too many senators, generals, and emperors begged for loyalty instead of commanding it through calculated distance. Nero begged the Praetorian Guard not to abandon him, literally begged on his knees. They killed him the next day. Begging does not purchase mercy, it accelerates contempt. Look at the French Revolution. Louis XVI did not lose his head because he was tyrannical. He lost it because he kept explaining, negotiating, conceding, writing pleading letters from prison, still believing that if he could just make them understand his good intentions, the blade would be stayed. The crowd smelled the desperation from miles away. Desperation is blood in the water. Fast forward, the corporate world is no different. Countless talented men have been passed over, sidelined, or outright fired, not for incompetence, but because they became the guy who always said yes, who over-communicated availability, who sent the following up email one too many times. The moment the board or the CEO senses you need the role more than they need you, your leverage dies. They do not fire out of malice. They fire because extractable resources get extracted until nothing remains. In intimate relationships, the pattern repeats with surgical precision. History is littered with men who begged for second chances after betrayal. They wrote long messages. They showed up uninvited. They promised to change. They cried on voicemails. Each plea stripped another layer of attraction until disgust replaced whatever feeling once existed. The woman did not leave because he was too nice. She left because his bedding made her feel like prey turning predator. She could now discard him without consequence. Even in literal war, soldiers who begged for their lives after capture were rarely spared. Those who stared back in silence, who refused to grovel, were sometimes shown respect, even by enemies, because the refusal signaled something higher value than mere survival. The begging ones became examples, the silent ones became legends, or at least corpses that commanded a nod. This is not coincidence, it is selection pressure operating across millennia. Human nature is wired to exploit the needy and fear the self-contained.
The predator brain asks one question above all: can I take from this one without retaliation? If the answer is yes, because he pleads, explains, chases, justifies, the exploitation begins automatically. No conscious decision required, it's reflex. The graveyard is vast because the lesson is hard. Visibility without dominance invites predation. Need without leverage invites erasure. Study any fallen, powerful man in the last decade: politician caught in scandal, CEO forced out, influencer cancelled. Trace the final months, you'll find the same tell. They started over-explaining. They issued apologies. They did media rounds to set the record straight. They begged the public, the board, the followers to believe them again. Each appearance accelerated the collapse. Silence might have preserved ambiguity. Begging removed it. The mechanism never sleeps. It does not care about your intentions, your pain, your backstory. It only measures: how easily can this organism be moved? How cheaply can it be bought? How safely can it be discarded? When the answer is very, history does the rest. You carry the same wiring. So does everyone watching you. The instant you beg in any form, the ancient algorithm activates. They do not decide to exploit you. Their biology decides for them. Feel that weight now. Every documented case is not a story, it's evidence. Evidence that begging is not a faux pas, it's a death sentence issued by your own hand. The men who avoided the graveyard understood one thing: power is preserved in what you refuse to give, not in what you desperately offer. Most never learn. Their bones fertilize the same soil generation after generation. You are standing at the edge of the same pit. Step back or join them.
The shift is not conceptual, it is behavioral. You do not think your way into sovereignty, you enforce it through micro-decisions repeated until the old reflexes die of starvation. Protocol 1. Weaponize delay. Never reply in under 90 minutes unless the matter is time-critical and benefits you directly. Feel the anxiety spike when the phone is in your hand and the impulse screams, "Answer now." That spike is withdrawal. Push through it every single time. After 7 to 10 days, the nervous system recalibrates. Silence stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like leverage. When you finally respond, keep it 20% shorter than they expect. No emojis, no softening qualifiers. End first, always. Protocol 2. Eradicate explanation. Any sentence that begins with "I just wanted to explain" or "the reason I" is auto-deleted before sent. If asked directly why you were silent, absent, or non-committal, deliver only 3 answers: busy, handling something, or nothing at all. Change subject or exit. Explanation is surrender disguised as courtesy. Starve it until the urge itself feels nauseating. Protocol 3. Make your yes rare and costly. Default answer to requests, time, attention, favors, emotional labor, no. Or better, silence until they reapproach with higher investment. When you do say yes, attach a condition that raises your price, only if X happens first. Train others that access to you requires effort on their part. The moment they stop earning it, withdraw completely. No announcement, no drama, just gone. Protocol 4. Cull emotional dumping. Never share feelings, doubts, fears, or insecurities unless the disclosure directly increases your power. Rare. Replace "I feel" with observation or command. "I feel ignored" becomes "you've been distant." "I'm hurt" becomes "that crossed a line." The first invites pity or exploitation, the second forces accountability. Feel the old needy voice rise, crush it mid-sentence. The discomfort is progress. Protocol 5. Cultivate visible indifference. In person, hold eye contact 1 second longer than feels natural, then break it first. Speak slower, lower volume slightly, move deliberately. When someone tests you, joke at your expense, demand, complaint, do not laugh along or defend. Pause, small smirk or flat stare, then redirect or disengage. Your non-reaction becomes the loudest signal. Their approval is irrelevant. Protocol 6. Enforce scarcity rituals. Delete read receipts, mute non-essential notifications, schedule disappearances, 24 to 72 hours offline with 0 warning, return unchanged. No, sorry, I was MIA preamble. People will probe. Let them. The vacuum pulls harder than any explanation ever could. Protocol 7. Audit and purge. Weekly, review last 7 days' communications. Flag every instance of over-explaining, chasing, qualifying, double texting, or emotional overshare. Write them down, read them aloud, feel physical revulsion. Burn the list or delete the note, symbolic execution. Next week the list shortens, eventually it empties. That is the beggar dying. Implement all 7 starting today, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Execution is the only readiness that matters. Expect resistance, internal, guilt, fear of loss, phantom, abandonment, anxiety. External, people will test harder, complain, withdraw to regain control. Do not flinch. Their reaction proves the mechanism is live. Push further. Within 30 days, the frame solidifies. People reorient. They invest more to keep you present. They apologize first. They qualify themselves to you. You did not become nicer. You became rarer. Rarity is dominance when backed by indifference. This is not a phase. It is the new operating system. Any reversion restarts the clock. 0 tolerance. Sovereignty is paid in discomfort, yours first, then theirs. Pay it, or remain taxable forever.
This is where the old you dies, not metaphorically, not gradually. Executed. No trial, no last words, no appeal. The beggar identity is not a habit. It is a parasite wearing your face. It feeds on approval scraps, on being seen, on avoiding the terror of being forgotten. Every time you explained yourself, chased a reply, softened a boundary, or begged for reassurance, you fed it. It grew fat. It convinced you it was you. Now, starve it to death. Step 1. Name the corpse. Sit alone tonight. Write 1 sentence. I am the man who once begged for attention, love, respect, understanding, or a second chance. Read it aloud 3 times. Feel the shame rise like bile. Do not push it down. Let it burn. That burning is the immune system of your new sovereignty, recognizing foreign tissue. Repeat nightly until the sentence no longer produces heat, only cold recognition of something that used to live inside you. Step 2. Ritual amputation. Choose 1 begging behavior you catch most often. Double texting, over-explaining, qualifying desires, emotional dumping, seeking closure. For the next 30 days, every time the impulse fires, freeze. Say out loud or in your head if public, that is the dead man speaking. Then do the opposite action immediately, no negotiation. Ghost instead of chase, 1-word reply instead of paragraph, silence instead of justification. The first week will feel like self-mutilation. That is correct. You are cutting away live wires that still spark phantom pain. Step 3. Replace the void with architecture. Nature abhors a vacuum, even inside you. As the beggar dies, a hollow opens. Fill it deliberately, or the old reflexes will crawl back in. Install 3 unbreakable anchors. Anchor 1. Daily proof of scarcity. Every morning, delete 1 non-essential chat thread
or mute one group that does not serve power. Small death, daily. Anchor 2, physical sovereignty signal. Train one visible habit of restraint, slower walk, lower speaking volume, longer eye contact before breaking, zero fidgeting. The body teaches the mind. When the body moves like a man who cannot be rushed, the mind follows. Anchor 3, internal frame declaration. Before sleep, repeat once, I am no longer defined by who chooses me. I am defined by who I refuse. Say it like sentencing, mean it like law. Step 4, burn the bridges back. Destroy escape routes. Tell no one you are changing. Do not announce, I'm working on myself. Do not soften the blow with, I need space right now. Simply become absent. When questioned, offer nothing. The less you explain the death, the deader it stays. Any attempt to resurrect it, any "are you mad at me" or "why so cold" is proof the execution is working. Do not comfort them. Let their anxiety be the funeral music. Step 5. Witness the replacement. Around day 21 to 35, something foreign begins occupying the space. You catch yourself, not caring if she replies tonight, feeling mild contempt instead of panic when someone pulls away, choosing silence not as tactic but default state, watching others beg and feeling nothing but clinical detachment. That is not growth. That is the shadow sovereign claiming residency. The beggar is no longer dying, he is dead. What remains is bone-cold authority wearing your skin. There is no gentle rebirth. There is only the corpse cooling and the new frame hardening in its place. Grieve if you must, but grieve the way a general grieves a useless soldier, quickly, quietly, then move on. You will never again feel the old hunger the same way. It will return in dreams sometimes, in weak moments. When it does, remember, that hunger belongs to a dead man. You buried him. Digging him up is necrophilia. Live as the one who executed him, never as the one who he was. The death is final only when you stop checking the grave. Stop checking.
This is the final gate. Most men never reach it. They read, nod, feel the fire for a week, then slip back into old patterns the moment discomfort returns. They choose comfort over sovereignty every single time. They die ruled. If any part of you still flinches at silence, still hungers for quick reassurance, still believes one more explanation will fix the frame, stop reading now. Close this. Return to the herd. The elite path is not for the half-committed. For the rest, understand what is at stake. You are not upgrading habits, you are replacing your operating system. The old one was written by fear, of abandonment, of being unseen, of losing what was never truly yours. The new one runs on indifference, backed by internal law. There is no middle ground. Half measures keep you extractable. Only total commitment locks in permanence. The warning is simple and merciless. Any reversion, no matter how small, reopens the vein. One double text, one unnecessary justification, one "I miss you" sent unprompted, one apology for your own boundary. Each is a transfusion back into the beggar. He revives hungry, and he revives faster each time. You will be tested hardest in the quiet moments, when she goes cold, when the deal stalls, when friends drift, when the group chat dies. The old reflex will whisper, reach out, clarify, fix it. That whisper is treason. Silence it like you would an intruder in your home with lethal force. The men who rule do not try to be mysterious. They do not work on being powerful. They have executed the weaker self so completely that its resurrection is biologically improbable. Their default is absence. Their presence is event.
Their approval is currency few can afford. You are either becoming that man, or you are remaining livestock with better excuses. Final directive. From this second forward, treat every interaction as a loyalty test for them, not you. Do they earn your attention? Do they match your investment? Do they respect the frame without you enforcing it verbally? If no, withdraw harder. No announcement, no drama, just vacuum. The elite do not chase, they do not negotiate, they do not explain. They select, they discard, they endure the loneliness of sovereignty because the alternative, being owned, is intolerable. If you can live with occasional isolation, with being misunderstood, with people labeling you cold or arrogant while they secretly orbit harder, if you can pay that price without flinching, then the transformation is sealed. If not, no amount of reading or protocol will save you. You will remain among the ruled, polite, reliable, forgettable. Choose now, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier. Now. The gate is closing. Step through or stay outside forever.